Well, welcome to my studio. Today I'm working on a painting of hummingbirds and hollyhocks. And I have previously drawn in my composition with a thin oil wash of my mud, which is 2 parts of ultramarine blue plus 1 part of alizarin crimson plus liquid, and that's kind of the purpley drawing in there. And then on the hummingbirds, I washed their heads in with viridian green plus liquid. The red is alizarin crimson plus liquid. And then the tall stalks of the hollyhocks with the flower buds are sap green plus liquid, and then phthalo blue plus liquid. And actually that's phthalo blue plus a little bit of sap green plus liquid. But that gives me that gets my composition up on the canvas, and I have allowed that to dry, and so now I can come back in. I have painted my adobe background. Those are mixtures of my mud plus cadmium orange plus white, and that's several different variations, several different shades, and the light is coming in from the upper left, so I'm lighter in the left hand corner, and actually I want to even make this a little bit lighter up here. So I just bring some brush strokes in here of a little bit lighter. This just gives that feeling of the sunlight pouring into the painting. I don't want my background to be super light because these hollyhocks are white, and some of these they're going to be a mixture of white and orange hollyhocks. So I need that background to still be darker so that those highlights stand out. You can't have light without dark. So in order to make these whites on these pop, I need that background behind them pretty dark. Now I'm going to begin just blocking in my stalks. And again, I use oil paints. And the size of this painting is 9 inches wide by 19 inches tall. So that kind of gives you an idea of the proportion. And these stalks that are back, a little bit back behind, I use mixtures of my phthalo blue plus cadmium yellow medium plus some white plus a little bit of lemon yellow in there too. And then I've got just some mixes of phthalo blue plus some cadmium orange plus white. If you look at flowers, they're not all the same shade, the same greens. There's lots of variation within the greens. But these, I'm just following that color theory, that cooler colors go back, so these are bluer. These greens will be warmer, will have more yellow in them. And so this gives the feeling of depth in the painting. And so I just make those seed pods in, even though I'm using a brush with a square tip. This is called a bright brush. All the brushes with a square tip like this that have shorter bristles are called bright brush. There's a longer bristle brush that also has that square tip, and it's called a flat. But I really prefer the bright brush. I can just take that square tip and just twist it and kind of get my circular ball-shaped flower bud in there. I kind of made that one a little bit too big, but I can just come back with my background color then and just paint around that. And my background is still wet, so and these stalks that are back behind, I want them to just kind of fade into the background so they actually the edges can be a little softer. Soft edges go back, harder, more defined edges come forward. So I'll paint my stalk. And then I start painting the flower buds. And again, these cooler colors just make them go back. And now these little buds here will have some petals starting to open up. And And I may have to come back in and work around those with my Adobe color. But this kind of gives me a start. There's a lot of working back and forth. I'm going to have another bud right there behind that petal, which will accentuate it a little bit. And this has, some of these have little stems. So I can just turn my brush sideways and make those little stems. I use thinner. I have my thinner is called Terpenoid Odorless Thinner. And it is a true odorless paint thinner. I paint, my studio setup is actually in what would normally be the living room of my home. And so that I don't want it to be smelly in here, and so therefore I use that odorless, the Terpenoid Odorless Paint Thinner. If you get the odorless paint thinner at Home Depot or Lowe's, unfortunately it's not a true odorless paint thinner and you will smell it. So Jack and I tried that, and it just, I mean, it definitely has an odor. So we switched over to the Terpenoid. And now I'm moving forward on these stalks that are a little bit closer, so they're warmer. They're the mixture of my phthalo blue plus cadmium yellow medium plus white. And I get my stalk in there first. Then I'll come back in and add the little buds on there. Now I'm going to have two colors of hollyhocks. I'm going to have white ones in here and then orange. My collector, this is a Mother's Day gift that her husband had seen this, and it was actually the painting he saw was hummingbirds and trumpet vine, or tangerine crossvine, and it was already sold. So he asked if I could do one especially for his wife. So we gave her a kind of a gift certificate for her Mother's Day gift, and now she's able to take part in the fun of watching her painting come together. And we had the chance to talk and visit about what she would like. And she loves hollyhocks. She loves both the combination of the white and the orange hollyhocks. So that's what we're doing. That's the fun of collaborating with my collectors, is I get to paint some things that normally I wouldn't paint. They come up with ideas that I don't really think of, and it really makes it a lot of fun. Adding a little bit of the cooler ones on that back side. These are, now this is going to have a blossom here, more sideways, and you'll see the little stem. Just kind of paint my background around that. I don't show more of that stem there. I can just, again, I've saved my background mixture, and I wipe my brush off because I want to keep that background color nice and clean. And I just pull toward the flower bud. You can see I pull this way. And now I can put my little stem in there with a little smaller brush. And that gets my stem in there. Okay. Different ones. And it's a matter of working up and down these stalks. These will be, I want them to be a little bit darker. They're back here behind. Actually, brush is too big. A little bit smaller brush. And now this flower has a little bit of the buds opening, so you see a little bit more green there. I'm going to let the sunlight hit this one a little bit more. Just let these pop in and out here. And this bud's also opening up, and we'll have, these will be orange. And then this gets more into shadow here. And this stalk, actually we're seeing the back side of this flower here. So the stalk comes, you see the little bud where it's opened up. And then the stalk is catching a little light. So that brings the stalk in front of that flower. And I'm going to put a little flower bud there. And then there's going to be another orange flower there. Having overlapping elements also helps give the feeling of depth in a painting. That's what we're doing here. So I will continue this process and finish out all the rest of the flower buds. I really appreciate you coming to my studio and watching my YouTube videos. Please subscribe to my channel and visit my blog. The link to this painting, to the blog for this painting, is in the description below. And you can just click on that and follow the step-by-step process of this painting. It's going to be in several different sessions, so you can subscribe to my blog, and then you'll get updates and an email when I post a new blog. But then each time I post a new one, then you'll be able to follow that process along. So you have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you for watching my YouTube videos, and just take care.